Hey y'all, it's June the 26th, 2016.
And I've been asked to um, comment on a couple things by a good friend of mine over there. He knows who he is. Anyways, I was asked to comment on a couple things, a couple subject matters in which that I was kind of aware of, but then again, I was not aware of them. Like, I'm not surprised at all that these two things exist, basically. One was the Mandela Effect, alright? For those who don't know, that would be a Mr. William Nelson Mandela, alright? You know how he kind of died a couple years ago, but the thing is, there's a lot of people. See, this is what coined the term Mandela Effect. There's a lot of people who could have swore he died in the 1980s, who could have swore like he died in jail and stuff, and there's a lot of people who swore that, and they don't know why. They never figured out why that is. How come they got that assumption, right? Alright, but a lot of people remembered it, so it kind of got everything confused. And this was termed the Mandela Effect, and I mean it's taking place over lots of different things. Right, where people's perspectives, they got all muddled up for whatever reason. In fact, in probably many different ways. And you gotta ask yourself, well, why is that? Why is that? It could be any number of reasons. I'm gonna just throw out a couple real quick, off the top. Like, number one would be school. Like, I saw this one video dealing with the Mandela Effect, and number one was school. That came to mind. Because I remember they were talking about this. Do you remember that little Asian guy? I can't tell you where. I'm gonna guess Okinawa, but I really don't know. The Asian guy? Or wasn't it Tiananmen Square where that happened, where it was a tank and it was rolling up on that Asian guy, and the Asian guy was standing there, and the tank rolled up on him, looking all ominous. Right. Here's the thing about it. I went to public school, and when I did that, I saw that picture. I know everybody else saw that picture. Everybody saw that picture. Right. Some people seem to believe that that man got ran over by the tank. They vividly remember this man getting run over by the tank, but it turns out that he did not get run over by the tank at all, and everything ended peacefully. All right. The reason that so many people, in my opinion, do not remember that whether or not this man got ran over is because in the textbooks and what they show you, they never show you afterwards. They always show you with the little Asian man standing right there. He's like standing looking at the tank. Tank's looking at him, and that's all they show you. And then they jump cut over to something else and start talking about something else. And it would lead you to believe, well, maybe this man got ran over. I don't know, and stuff. And you know what? In public school, I dare not even think of how confusing it might get up in there. But let me give you one example of something gone bad, like a Nelson Mandela effect. Alright, that I experienced. One time I was talking to my middle niece, and I told a lot of people this. I believe you find it real deep. I was talking to my middle niece. She was maybe like 10 or something, maybe 10 or 12. Alright. She thought Abraham Lincoln was black. Alright, she told me this. I didn't even ask her and stuff. She just like blurted out to me Abraham Lincoln is black. That's the part of the Nelson Mandela effect. Alright, here's the thing about it. It happens all sort of different ways. I mean, technically, I'm not saying this has happened, but technically it would not be that hard to go over radio waves and airwaves and say some complete old bullshit. And then people will believe you, and then that will get caught up in their memory, and it changes everybody's perspective. Here's one thing that I think we should all remember, right, is that there's a million billion different perspectives. This is why people like us, we can't get individually all the way to the truth. It's not going to happen because we would have to have an omnipresent we'd have to be able to see everything with our perspective, and we cannot do that. We can only see what's coming out right through here. And so people see a lot of things from a lot of different angles, and there is a lot of confusion. But see, here's the worst part about this whole thing. And I've had many conversations with many different people about the confusion being so thick, like a fog, that eventually they get disillusioned. And they say, gosh, it's impossible to know what's the truth. I don't know. Who knows? And the thing is, no, it's not impossible. It's just that you're in a fog of confusion. You know what I'm saying? No, you're not going to know the complete truth, but that doesn't mean that you can't get closer to the truth. I mean, when you break down this Nelson Mandela effect, most times you got to imagine it's people seeing pictures, images, videos. But the thing is, what they're seeing is always inevitably going to be edited by somebody who has a bias, whether they want to admit it or not. So what makes extremely important at that point, when you know that there's all sort of people with all sort of different perspectives, also the historians, and historians are very important, but the thing is, they tend to disagree with each other a lot. So what you do is you have to find the most, on a personal level, you have to find the most legitimate, the most authentic, right down to the nitty gritty type of people to find out information for you. You gotta find the very best historians. You gotta find the very best reporters and investigators. How do you know how to do that? How do you know how to do that Well, you pretty much just go with your gut, number one. But number two, how you really gonna know how to do that? To find the people who really are gonna benefit you, and it doesn't matter what size or shape they are, what gender they are, or race, or nothing like that. Nothing like that matters. Right? What you need to do is read the Word of God, probably. Right? Because that's going to help you in discerning who is and who isn't good for you to listen to. Facts are facts, but numbers can be manipulated. Pictures can be manipulated. All sort of things can be manipulated, especially the way things are going right now. All right, y'all. See, my friend, he had also asked me about what my thoughts were about considering what's called the Proud to Be movement, or like hashtag Proud to Be. All right, this is one more thing that I was not familiar with. Not familiar with at all. But I was not surprised of its existence, and maybe you've never heard of it. Go ahead and Google that. Hashtag Proud to Be. Basically, it's pretty much anything that's not normal as far as your sexual, preferences and whatnot, right? And talking about how you're proud to be who you are. Here's the thing about it. To make this kind of personal, I'm gonna go ahead and make it personal. On a personal level, you think about all sort of things about you as a person, and there's things that everybody does every day, including myself, especially, that don't necessarily give glory to God at all. Right? The God of the Bible, the only one. They don't do that. Right? But there are things that we can do every day that do glorify God and stuff. Right? And this could be any sort of directions. Maybe you get in shape real good, right? And you give glory to God that way. And maybe you help people out and stuff, and that's another way to give glory to God and stuff. And just everything that you do towards the furtherment of God having a presence on earth through people. Well, that's good. That's real good. But see, the more you think about, the things about yourself that make yourself proud to be yourself. All right. The more you think about that stuff, I mean, I can't help it on a personal level. I can't help it only think about what are the things that I do that glorify God. So that's what makes me feel proud. All right. None of this other stuff really makes me feel proud at all. I do all sort of stuff that don't necessarily give glory to God or nothing, and I don't really feel proud about that necessarily. I'm not going out and bragging how about I do and all that. All right. I do not. And the reason is because it's nobody's business for one. Number two, it ain't nobody's business. Alright? And it's not something that you want to pass down. Alright? Sometimes, like for instance, I don't talk about it very much, but just for example, I be smoking that tobacco. Sometimes. Right? But it's not something that I would want to pass on, you know what I mean? I'm not telling children out there, man, I'm proud to be a tobacco smoker, I do this and that. Something that sometimes I do. But, you know what I'm saying? It's not something to be proud of, basically. That's just an example. Alright? However, I like it. Alright? But I'm not out here telling you about how I'm so proud about the things I like. Here, that's the thing about it. We got a yin and a yang here. We got complete opposites. Either you're doing something that glorifies God or you're not doing it. Alright? But which one should you be proud of most? And you'll notice that when you think more about God and stuff, you start to tend to think about other people. And start to empathize with them. And start to be concerning yourself with their needs. Right? Like the book would say, you start to become a servant to them. The lowest is the highest. Right? But when you're doing that, if you're physically, literally doing that, where you're being a servant to others and constantly thinking about others, then you won't even have enough time to think about, oh, what am I? What kind of things do I like to put my penis in? How do I feel? What kind of gender should I claim for myself? You won't even have time to do all these things. These are problems that aren't necessarily had in these other countries, where they actually got real problems. I mean, there are homosexuals in Saudi Arabia. That's a serious problem. They have a very serious problem on their hands. A very serious one. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, dude, you're out here in America where it just don't even make sense that you feel like you're oppressed somehow. Because someone somewhere is telling you not to get married. I don't care what you do. And it's just like, man, it's so weird. The thing is, it's so weird, but it's so typical, especially on something like a YouTube Spotlight. And I left the link down below, the Proud to Be thing going on in the YouTube Spotlight. And the thing is, man, God bless them. Do whatever you do sexually or whatever. Better not involve children at all. Probably shouldn't involve animals either. Do y'all, alright? But even still, it's a small percentage of the population. It's so small. It's so very small that it makes you wonder, why would this even be in Spotlights? It's abnormal. It's abnormal. Alright? I'm gonna just go ahead and finish this up, alright? It's abnormal. And I'm not saying that because I hate on you or that I hate you. Alright? God bless you. Know that there's much success to be had in God. Right? But to think about it this way, I know a carnivore person. A carny. I know one. Grew up that way. Right? And she tells me about a lot of things. One of which would be that, like, that freak show type deal. The abnormal people, the ladies with the beards and stuff. Abnormal. People used to go to the carnival specifically to watch these abnormal people. Right? And they did so because they were abnormal. Everybody admitted, look, this person's abnormal. Let's give them some money. Alright? And so now we got the same type of people in this Proud to Be. They look pretty similar in the Proud to Be movement. And instead of, like, just giving them money for being abnormal, instead we're like, dude, everybody needs to accept this abnormality. It's like, dude, didn't nobody oppress this abnormality at all to begin with? There was no oppression involved here. We used to give y'all money for being freaks. Alright? And now, at this point, we give you, like, sympathy and stuff like that, and money. Still, even more money, I'm sure. To these lobbyists and stuff. Anyways, that's pretty much my thought about it. Alright? Right? Don't lose hope, because I talk to these people and they're like, you know, I don't know which way is up and down and stuff, so I think I should give up. I don't have no hope. And then they talk about certain things like the presidential election and stuff. They'll be like, it don't matter. I don't know. I have no hope. It don't matter what happens. And I'm going to just not pay attention. It's like, dude,